It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call shots. Todd, we're breaking new ground. A special shots series. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this. But it's for a very special show. For The Mandalorian, new on Disney Plus. We are doing a episode by episode review series. This is new for us. So we have never done this before. Typically with a TV show, we like to wait for we go through the whole season. We like to binge.
Yeah, I think the only TV series that we've ever done has been Stranger Things.
I think that's right. But it's usually we just review the entire season.
Yeah.
For The Mandalorian here, I don't think I can wait. I don't think I can wait for the whole season to end before we talk about it.
But also, it makes it easier with the way that Disney Plus is doing The Mandalorian, actually on a weekly basis.
Yeah, they are. So they are releasing this on a weekly basis too. So it kind of works out. But yeah, we just got done mere minutes ago watching the first episode of The Mandalorian, which just premiered. Disney Plus just premiered. And I think in typical Shots fashion, if you've never listened to Shots before, this is our TV and film review podcast. And we typically will give our spoiler-free thoughts at the beginning, give a clear spoiler warning, and then get into full spoiler discussion. So, Todd, spoiler-free initial reactions to The Mandalorian. Now on Disney Plus.
I'll say that budget is showing. That the production quality is.
I think for the most part it's pretty good.
There was a couple things.
Like,
There was a couple things where I was like, that looks bad. There was a couple things CG wise.
Yeah.
You probably know the shots I'm talking about. But overall, like for a TV show,
yeah,
that's like some impressive shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. It definitely is. And it does have a high budget for a TV show. It's like a $120 million budget across 8 episodes. About $15 million per episode is the per episode budget. So, I mean, pretty substantial. When you really think about it, the first episode's about 40 minutes long?
Yeah.
When you think about it, 40 minutes of, like, high quality, like, really movie tier, basically, Star Wars content. Mm-hmm. $15 million is like pretty cheap.
Yeah.
To produce that. To be frank. So the movie, I think, or the show rather, I think has actually a pretty modest budget, all things considered. And with, we've only seen the first episode, but assuming that the other 7 will retain this standard of quality just visually, and I'm sure it will, it's pretty impressive that they made it for such little money.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be an 8-episode series, and they ostensibly are spending like a fraction of some movie budgets on it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. But yeah, what did you think about the story, the setup?
That's spoiler free. It left me wanting more.
Oh, dude, I wanted to start the next episode immediately. I was like, where is it? Give me episode 2, damn it.
Right at the end, I'm just like, episode 2, let's go.
They end with such an intriguing, like, cliffhanger.
I feel like intriguing is an understatement. It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this without spoiling it. We'll talk about it more in the spoiler section, but this show, even from the first episode, and again, we're staying spoiler free here. This, in just one episode, this show has done things to expand the lore of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And it's done so very effortlessly. And again, I'll get into more in that detail in the spoiler section, but just like from the outset, in one episode, it has really added a lot already to the Star Wars mythos. And I can't wait to see them do more.
Yes,
like, where's episode 2? Like, I'm ready for it.
It's a part of me is like, I love and hate the fact that this is like a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's like I love the fact is I feel like I'm more hyped to watch it.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, it's going to be what I like about the weekly release cadence is that it's going to be an event.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a new routine for us for the next 8 weeks, where you and I are going to get together on Fridays and watch the new episode and record our episode of Shots, and it's going to be a whole thing, and I like that. I like that. And I think moving forward with future Star Wars shows, future Marvel shows, it might be something, a format that we revisit in the future. But to get back to the episode, I thought this is a really strong first episode.
Yeah.
In basically every way.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I am surprised at how much character they put into the Mandalorian, considering that he doesn't talk. He's not just Boba Fett 2.
Yeah.
Which I like. He actually, I mean, he just ostensibly interacts and talks a lot more than Boba Fett ever did. Mm-hmm. But he also just has like I don't know, like we're getting little snippets even in this first episode of his backstory, subtle bits of humor. You know, he's definitely badass. You know, definitely some badass scenes. The opening scene of the show is great.
That's a very, very solid opening to this show, where I'm just like, okay, I already like this. I already like where it was going. Continue.
Yeah. It gave me everything that I wanted from a first episode. I guess I kind of wish that we got a little more. I guess I kind of wish we got to know the characters a little bit more, but I know that's going to ruminate as the show goes on.
Well, yeah, I mean this is a TV series. Like, we're gonna be getting more of that with every episode, you know.
But as a setup episode, I think it was really strong as a setup episode. But maybe the structure of it would have worked a little bit better if it were like an hour and a half long rather than like 40 minutes long or something like that. But honestly, if my problem is I wish it were longer. Or I wish there were more of it, I think we're in pretty good shape. It was just a good fucking first episode, man. I love as a big Star Wars dork like I am, it was cool to be able to like pick out things that we haven't seen in Star Wars for a while.
The show had like the one thing I really do like from like the older movies is just let me just see just aliens chilling.
Yes.
Like, I love that shit, and I always have.
I complained about this recently on the podcast where I was like, I love the sequel trilogy, but like, God damn it, I just want to see some of these aliens.
Yep.
And this, even just in one episode, we see plenty of aliens. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to see, like, it's not a spoiler to say that there's one of the major characters of the first episode, one of the major speaking characters is an Ugnaught, and we haven't seen like a major Ugnaught character in live action Star Wars before, so that was really cool to see. And
he's a winner.
He's great. He's probably my favorite character in the entire episode. He's great. And then there's that character at the very beginning of the episode that I believe might be a new race.
Talking about Blue Buddy?
Yeah, I think he might be I don't recognize that race. I mean, maybe it's something that like at the very least,
maybe it's even more obscure for you. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's even too obscure for me. But at the very least, I don't think this is a race that we have seen in live action before. So that was cool. I mean, again, in one episode, this show has done so much to expand on the lore and lay the groundwork of like how the Mandalorian works and who he is and like what's going on in the day-to-day. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's some stuff that is set up here that is really impressive that they were able to set up so much in just one episode. So let me ask you this.
What's up?
So I don't want to make this a review of Disney Plus, but this is kind of the only, like, in terms of the major tentpoles like the Marvel and the Star Wars and stuff, this is the first like original programming for Disney Plus, by and large.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, what do you kind of, now that you kind of know what that looks like?
Okay. So originally, like with like a lot of like especially like the Marvel shows, I really wasn't kind of caring. And I've been slowly starting to care more and more the more I've been like reading and hearing about some of the shit. But actually watching The Mandalorian, I'm like, okay, I'm down to watch a lot of the original shit now. Because I feel like it is going to, for the most part, be pretty fucking solid. So,
what I like about it too is it gives me something to latch onto, like between major kind of events, especially with Star Wars. Like I'm sitting here, like basically today, I'm just like, yes, the Star Wars holiday begins, bitch. Because I'm just sitting here, just like stroking that Star Wars boner. I'm just like, yes, dude. Like Mandalorian starts today. Fallen Order comes out this Friday. And by the way, another episode of Mandalorian comes out this Friday. And we'll be there for that. Both of those things happen on the same day. And then, of course...
This is something. What time are these episodes getting, like, released?
I am not 100% on that. But either way, every Friday. I think the final episode airs on, like, December 27th. Or something like that. But,
okay.
Yeah, so basically, this first episode released on a Tuesday, the day Disney Plus launched. Episode 2 is going to be on Friday, and then it's going to be every Friday after that. Yeah. So, yeah, and then Fallen Order comes out that same day. Obviously, Rise of Skywalker is right around the corner, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just like glued to the chair. Like,
I'm surprised you haven't been playing Battlefront.
Yeah, it's on my PlayStation. It is on my PlayStation.
Because you do get into that mood where you just want to like fucking engross yourself into everything Star Wars.
I do, and that happens all the time. And here's the deal. It's frustrating because normally I don't have an outlet for that.
Yeah.
And now I do. Now I do. Anyway, I think it's safe to say that you and I both give The Mandalorian a ringing endorsement.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
The first episode, very, very good. And we will, of course, be back for episode 2. But, Todd, before we do that, let's get into spoilers. Spoiler warning. If you have not yet watched episode 1, which is titled Chapter 1 of The Mandalorian, turn back now. You have been warned. Spoilers. Let's get into that, Todd. Ugh.
So the biggest question was answered. What happens when those fucking doors close onto someone?
I have long wondered that. Because we've seen those doors like many times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so does it have like some sort of like smart measure where it just like if it detects something in the middle of it, it like reopens? No.
Oh no, you just get cut in half.
No, you just get fucking cut in half. Sorry.
It's so good. That opening scene, man.
Opening scene was great.
So good. That was so perfect. That was like, I mean, you got like the typical, like, it was like one of those like outlaw cowboy sort of thing.
Yeah, where he walks in like, all like silent badass and somebody has to fuck with him.
It worked though. It worked. Yeah. I loved it. Had the good old switcheroo where it's like, oh, you just came in. Oh no, I'm your target. the blue buddy.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, no, sorry, I'm actually here for your bounty too, fucko.
Yep.
And that really cool. That was such a great setup scene. Really, even leading up to like to his capture where he is in the ship. And he's like, yeah, I gotta go take a shit, basically.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there looking at the guns and shit. He's like
trying to plot an escape, basically. And like,
dude, that scene was like a fucking out of a horror movie, isn't it?
Well, he realizes slowly that, oh shit, like not only am I not the first capture, but I'm not the first person who's tried to escape. These motherfuckers are all frozen in carbonite, and I'm next.
You gotta love the fact the man has like a portable like carbonite thing.
Yes.
Like in his ship, just chilling.
That must come in handy.
Right?
Which I'm like, if you have that technology, if you have portable carbonite freezing technology, like why did Vader need like an entire fucking chamber?
Whole fucking chamber, whole fucking like factory type shit. It's like
a whole ceremony about it and shit. I'm like, what? It seems like this is just something you can just have chilling in the back of your ship.
Yeah.
That was a little bit weird.
Loved it though.
Although one little this is like a kind of like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing that I thought was really cool and effective. Like the fact that when he brings him and turns in all those bounties and the dude tries to pay him in Imperial credits.
Yeah.
And he's like, these are useless, motherfucker. There's no Empire anymore.
Yeah,
That's really cool. Again, that's a cool bit of lore where we get to see like hey, like
But
a world without the Empire.
speaking of the Empire, the remnants of the Empire.
Yeah.
This I love that scene actually because of I'm gonna be honest, the unease of that scene. You know what I mean? Like when the door opens.
Well, yeah. Not only just that though. Yeah. So you open the door and you see these stormtroopers and their armor's dirty and shit.
Yep.
And like you look at it and you're just like, whoa, what? And it's funny too because now looking back, now in hindsight, now that I know what happens at the end, I'm like, oh, it's you're thinking about like the implications of what he was saying when he originally started the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Where he's like, the fucking Werner Herzog's character's like, I don't care if you kill it, you know, and the scientist is like, no, we need it alive, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like,
It's interesting.
where could we be going with this? Because here, let's not bury the lead. Let's just get the biggest spoiler out of the way.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So at the end of the episode, so basically the Mandalorian his mission is to retrieve a bounty, and they're like, oh, this like he's 50 years old, bring him back, alive or dead. Like I said, Werner Herzog's character's like, you can kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
His character really wants him dead. The scientist or doctor or whatever really wants it alive.
So there's this whole confrontation where he tracks him down, and that's where the IG-11 character is introduced, by the way. So awesome to see an IG droid in action.
Oh, so good.
Doing his thing. Because you read all this stuff in the expanded lore where it's like, oh, they're these like badass assassin droids, and obviously we've seen IG-88 and stuff like that, but to actually see an IG droid at work.
Just completely moving like in like 360s, just shooting shit.
Initiating self-destruct.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Again, that subtle humor that they have in there. I think the tone is pitch perfect.
Yeah, I have no issue with like comedy when it's like that. Like like I don't need like this like shit where like I'm like full on laughing, but that was solid. Like it was just like little moments like that, and also moments with Nolte's fucking character.
I have spoken.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I almost said it earlier.
That's that kind of shit where you chuckle. You don't like full on laugh. It's not hilarious.
Yeah, but it's a good little.
But it gives a little like needed levity to an otherwise fairly dark corner of the Star Wars universe. But so yeah, there's the whole confrontation with that. Him and IG-11 team up, and they get into this facility, and they realize, oh shit, our mission, our bounty is not a grown-ass 50-year-old person like we thought it was. It's a baby. And not only is it a baby. Yeah, not only is it a 50-year-old baby, but it is of Yoda's species.
And just the initial shot where it's like you see obviously the recognizable ears from the back, and we're just like, I think both of us are like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me? And then when you get the full frontal, like, whoa, what the fuck? So strange and interesting.
And it's just, that's kind of where it ends, essentially. And I'm just like, episode 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, Yoda's species, of course, has never been named. We don't really know much about them, except for the fact that, like, they're really old. And they're clearly very force sensitive because the two members that we know about canonically are Yoda and fucking Yaddle or whatever her name is.
Well, you see, what's interesting is if you look at that now, like if you can like see that as a 50-year-old baby, it's essentially what, like a fucking like infant, probably not even like 1 year old.
Basically an infant.
Like it's like I would love to like you scale that up to like what Yoda's age was and like scale. You know what I mean?
You're thinking about it. I mean, when Yoda reaches, he says he's like 900, right, in Empire.
Yeah.
So I mean, I assume that's him as like a pretty old man. You would think that like when he's like 200, he's like a teenager.
Right.
Basically.
That's so fucking interesting.
So, and yeah, we don't know much about that species. We don't know how many. It's clearly a pretty rare species. Because we've never really seen it touched upon in fiction, and it's just really fucking fascinating, man. Especially, again, the implications of like that species must be pretty force sensitive. If as far as we know, with the confirmed members that we know canonically in
They
Yoda's
are
race,
Jedis.
we're betting 1,000. Both of them are Jedis, and not just Jedis, but Jedi Masters.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's really fucking interesting. And you know, if Werner Herzog's character is indeed like a holdout from the Empire, no shit, he wants it dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's really fascinating. And then it also makes me wonder if the scientist, what's going on with him? Why does he want it alive so much? Is the species so rarefied that he's trying to find a way to like clone them or something? I don't know. It's really interesting. And then also there seems to be a little bit of we get some flashbacks to the Mandalorian's past where from what I was seeing, it looked like it was some shots from like either the Clone Wars or the Siege of Mandalore or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's got you're seeing shots where it looks like he's trying to protect like his daughter or something.
Now, was that him protecting him, or was that like him as a kid?
It's possible. It's possible that it's him as a kid. I guess it really just depends. It depends on how old we think.
I mean,
the Mandalorian is.
It's like the way they were the way they shot it. Like it just seemed like it was him getting put into that like little like hole.
That's possible. I mean, look, the Siege of Mandalore happens during the Clone Wars era. So if that's him in the hole, it would make sense thinking that, okay, the Mandalorian is like 30s, 40s. That would make sense. Conceivably, if he were the one putting the character in the hole, then he would have to be like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
You would think. So, yeah, maybe it isn't. If you think about the numbers, maybe that would suggest that is him being hidden away. And then there's that really interesting shot, or scene rather, where he goes into this like underground Mandalorian tribe.
Oh, fuck, that was cool.
Like, what's the deal with that? Like, are these like the last remnants of like the Mandalorian tribe? Is that what we're saying?
And there's not a lot.
No, well, I mean, there wouldn't be a lot.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
So that's really fascinating. This is what I'm saying. Already, episode 1, we are seeing what happens. Like, we're seeing basically, canonically, what's going on with the Mandalorians. We are seeing an expansion of Yoda's race. We are seeing new aliens, like new alien species. We are seeing for the first time, really, the fresh fallout of the Empire. These are things that have not been touched on in Star Wars lore. And this is episode 1. This is episode 1. Like, my nipples are just so hard for this show right now.
I know.
Now, counterpoint, they are in trouble, I think, of explaining too much. They've got a fine tightrope to walk here, because there is something to be said about mystery. And I hope that they really walk that fine line of not going too deep into the Yoda's race.
I would at least love it to be named.
I don't know if I want it to be named. I think it probably will be named. I don't know if I necessarily want it to be named, but I think it probably will be.
Fucking get George Lucas naming it.
Yeah. He's like, all right, it's called Oopa Doopa. It's called Stew John. Shit. It's called Adoy. Yoda backwards. Adoy.
Here's the thing.
He's an Adoyan.
Dude, you kid. You fucking kid, but that's the type of shit he would do.
It's fucking interesting, man. I'm sure George Lucas has an answer to that question in his head, and I would not be shocked if we get the answer to that question in this show. But part of me kind of hopes we don't. I want there to be a little bit of mystery still. I don't want them to go too far into it. I want them to open it all up. Fuck it. No, I'm just fucking... I don't want them to open it up too far. I want to open it up a little bit. Crack the door. We now know that there's more to be seen with Yoda's race, you know. And it's smart too that it's a baby, because if it wasn't a baby, everybody would be like, well, where the fuck is it during the sequel trilogy? It's like, okay, during the sequel trilogy, it's probably still a baby.
Yeah.
That I think makes sense. It's really interesting. It's interesting groundwork. I just don't want them to push it too far.
Are we gonna see this baby do the Force?
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe. I like maybe just like a little something to show that it is Force sensitive.
A little something like move some shit.
Pick up a rock or something like that. You know, I don't know. You do Force pull on its blinky. Do a Force choke on its baba. Anyway, I am very, very looking forward to Chapter 2. I am so excited by this show. The implications. The implications!
Yeah.
Makes me very happy. Anyway, I have spoken indeed. You got anything else you want to add?
I think that's about it, man.
All right. We'll catch you for the next episode on Friday. Be there, be square. I have spoken.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.